From forgotten Grunt to ghost of the last war. The first thing you feel is the cold. Not the kind of cold that comes from weather. The weather in Sector 9 hasn't changed in 40 years. The sky is the same copper grey it was the day you were born, a permanent bruise overhead, sealed in by the smog cap and the orbital heat deflectors the upper rings use to keep their world comfortable. No. This cold comes from the ground. Recycled concrete. Still damp from the acid mist that rolls off the refinery stacks every morning at 0400. You've been sleeping on it. You don't remember lying down. Your cheek is pressed against it, and somewhere in the distance you can hear the bass thrum of a patrol drone making its loop. Low. Lazy. It isn't looking for anyone important. It isn't looking for you. You are 11 years old. Your name is a 6-digit intake number your mother got from the municipal birth registry before they shut it down. She gave you a real name too, whispered it like a prayer, but nobody here uses it. Nobody here has time for something that fragile. You get up. The smell hits you the way it always does, sweet and chemical, like burnt sugar and industrial solvent fused together. The ration block processing plant 2 streets overruns on a 24-hour cycle. After a while your brain stops registering it as a warning. That's the trick this place plays on you. It keeps poisoning you so slowly, so consistently, that your own nervous system decides it must be normal. That's how Sector 9 works. Not through violence. Not first. First it convinces you that this is just how the world is. Level 1. The Nobody. Furniture. You are 13 when a recruiter from the Meridian Defense Auxiliary finds you. He doesn't look like a soldier. He looks like a logistics manager. Grey jacket. Cheap synth leather shoes with a crack running along the left toe. He's standing outside the water distribution kiosk, holding a tablet, watching the line. Watching you, specifically, the way a hardware engineer watches a component he's deciding whether to salvage. He says the words they always say. Opportunity. Structured path. Serve your sector. You sign. Your mother doesn't stop you. She touches your face once, both palms, very still, and then she lets go. You don't understand yet that she's already grieving. The processing facility smells like antiseptic and cafeteria grease. They shave your head. They hand you a grey-green bodysuit that doesn't fit. They run you through 12 hours of aptitude screening in a room where the lights never dim. When you finally sleep, it's on a shelf bunk, stacked 4 high, in a bay with 47 other recruits. The boy above you cries quietly for 3 nights. By the 4th night, he stops. Nobody told you to feel anything about that. You're just furniture to them. A resource unit. MDA Auxiliary Class 7, flagged for neural interface compatibility, assigned to the Tactical Augmentation Program. You don't know what that means yet. You will. Level 2. The body begins to change. You signed the consent form. You didn't read it. They put the first implant in at 14. Occipital mount. It links your visual cortex to the tactical mesh, a shared battlefield data network that makes every soldier in your unit a node. You can see what your squad mates see. You can feel when one of them flatlines. It registers as a soft pressure behind your left eye, like a headache that arrives and then suddenly stops. You learn to stop noticing it. The surgery is clean. Fast. You wake up with a headache that lasts 6 weeks and a line of text floating in the lower left corner of your vision at all times. Battery level, network sync status, unit designation. You reach up to rub your eye and you can feel the ridge of the port housing beneath your skin. That night you stare at the ceiling for a long time. Nobody comes to check on you. Your training officer tells you, the discomfort means it's integrating. That means it's working. That means you're worth something now. You file that sentence away. You will take it out again many times over the next decade, each time looking for the place where the lie begins. Level 3. The first mission. You weren't ready. That was the point. You are 16 the first time they deploy you. Border Stabilization Ops Sector 14 Delta. A corridor dispute between two corporate infrastructure subsidiaries. Nobody calls it a war because calling it a war requires political documentation, and neither side wants the liability. They call it a kinetic asset engagement. You call it the night recruiter Yasha stepped on an anti-personnel mine and the pressure behind your left eye was so sudden and sharp that you dropped to one knee in the mud. The mud in 14 Delta smells like iron and standing water and something sweeter underneath that you eventually understand is decay. You complete the objective. You return to base. You eat a protein block in a corridor because the mess hall is already closed. Your hands are steady. You check them twice, specifically because you expected them to shake. They don't shake. You file that away too. Level 4. The Rising Star. They start using your name. By 19, something has shifted. The officers know your designation by memory. Your tactical mesh integration scores are in the 97th percentile. You have developed something that the performance assessors call adaptive threat geometry, a way of reading a room, a corridor, a battlefield, that processes faster than standard augmented cognition. You don't know if it's the implants or something older. Something that grew in you the same way that all survival instincts grow, through repeated, compulsory use. You get a private bunk. Small, but yours. A door that closes. A wall locker with an actual biometric seal. You put your mother's intake photo against the inside panel where nobody can see it. You are a level 4 tactical asset now. They give you a field name. Ghost. The blood debt starts here. You are very good at a thing the world should not need anyone to be good at. And every time you use it, the organization takes a piece of the payment. You don't see the ledger. You just notice, slowly, that you're running light. Level 5. The price of loyalty. They give you things, so you forget what they took. At 22, there is a uniform that fits. There is a single-occupancy transit pod with your biosignature keyed to the door. There is a monthly nutrition allotment that includes real protein, animal cultured, not extruded, and something the commissary officer calls coffee that doesn't taste like anything you imagined but that you drink every morning because it is yours. You are managing a 6-person augmented strike cell. You are responsible for their lives. You feel this like a second implant, always running in the background, always drawing current. One of them is 17. Her name is Day. She has the same flat expression you had at her age, the same way of cataloging exits when she enters a room. You recognize it because you invented it. You feel something watching her that you don't have a word for yet. You don't sleep much. When you do, you dream about copper-gray sky and the smell of burnt sugar. You wake up reaching for a threat assessment and realize your hands are empty and it takes 4 full seconds to remember where you are. The joint pain starts this year. Low grade. Persistent. Invisible ninjas. You will come to think of it. Working the connective tissue at your knees, your left shoulder, the base of your neck where the 3rd implant housing sits. The MDA medical technician says it's normal. Integration stress. Totally expected. Here is a synthetic analgesic patch. Don't use more than 3 per day. You use 4. Level 6. Moral debt. You start making the decisions you swore you'd never make. 25. There is a decision point. An extraction mission goes wrong in a way that requires you to choose between the objective and Day's team. The math is clean. The human cost is not. You make the call that the mission requires. Day's team gets out. But one of them, the youngest, a boy named Thomas who still had 3 months left on his original indenture, does not. You write the incident report. You use the approved language. Asset loss consistent with operational parameters. You stare at those words for a long time. Then you submit the report. That night you go to the commissary and drink something that isn't coffee and you look at your hands again. They are still steady. You don't know anymore whether that's strength or damage. You are starting to suspect it's damage wearing strength's clothes. Level 7. The peak. The cage is gold. It is still a cage. By 30, you are Ghost 1. Command Tier. 13 Augmentation Housings. Neural mesh integration so deep that you process battlefield data in real time across a 40-kilometer operational radius. You have a security clearance that doesn't have a public designation. You have a residence in the mid-ring, actual sunlight, actual sky, actual plants that grow from actual soil in actual pots by an actual window. You stand at that window sometimes. You don't open it. The paranoia isn't irrational. That's what nobody tells you. At your level, the threat environment is that dense. There is betrayal in every smile from every adjutant, every logistics coordinator, every junior officer who brings you a briefing tablet. You read people the way the tactical mesh reads terrain, constantly, automatically, cataloging angles. It exhausted you at first. Now it's just vision. Your mother is sick. She is in Sector 9. You have the resources to move her. You have filed the request 4 times. The security clearance review process for relocating a soldier's civilian contacts takes, apparently, between 18 and 36 months. She dies on a Tuesday. You are in a mission briefing. The pressure behind your left eye never comes. There's no implant for that kind of loss. Your face does not change. You complete the briefing. Afterward, in the corridor, you stand very still for a moment with your hand flat against the wall. Then you keep walking. Level 8. The Ghost. You won every war. You lost everything that made winning mean something. At 34, the last war begins. They don't call it that yet. They will. 12 months of continuous high-intensity networked warfare across 4 contested infrastructure sectors. You are at the center of it, the architecture of the whole campaign running through your augmented cognition like electrical current. You make 300 decisions a day that each cost lives. You stop counting. Counting makes you useless. Useless gets more people killed. You win. The campaign ends. The corporate consortium that funded the MDA signs the partition agreement. The upper rings celebrate with a light show visible from the ground. You watch it through the window, the real window, mid-ring, the plants still in their pots. It occurs to you that you don't remember the last time you spoke to another human being about something that wasn't tactical. It occurs to you that you don't know if that's a problem anymore. The reckoning. Every empire ends. Yours ends quietly. The decommission order arrives 6 weeks after the partition signing. Not a punishment. Not a court-martial. Just a threshold. Your augmentation load exceeds the peacetime integration ceiling. 13 housings. The liability profile. The institutional risk. Very clean language. Very approved language. You recognize it. You wrote language like that yourself, once. They offer full medical support. A mid-ring residence stipend. A service commendation that will be filed in a database no one will ever access. You sit in the processing office. The chair is soft. The air is recycled. You can tell by the way it sits flat in your lungs. No weight to it, no weather. You look at the officer across the desk. He has the tablet with the consent form. You think about a recruiter with a cracked shoe, standing outside a water kiosk. You think about a boy above you on a shelf bunk, crying himself quiet. You think about your mother's hands on your face. You sign. Final line, the gut punch. And here is the thing nobody in Sector 9 ever told you. The system doesn't need you to fail. It needs you to succeed, completely, totally, at every level, so that by the time it's finished with you, there's nothing left that remembers what you were before it started. The slums don't produce soldiers. They produce the perfect conditions for forgetting. And you were very, very good at your job.